What's up, everybody? How do you find a rat hole, guys? Lift up its tail. Thanks. Welcome back to the show, Capes and Cowls, everybody. It is the show amongst shows. We are going to talk about everything in the world of comic book movies, and that is Deadpool 3. Yep, they started filming. Good move, bad move. Comic Book Movie did a list about Kang the Conqueror. What happens if he gets replaced by which villains? Who are the 8 that could do it? They made a list. We'll respond to that. Elizabeth Olsen was on our buddy Josh Horowitz's show talking about Doctor Strange 2 and everything, the writers. And then Coy brought up a good point as we were starting this, basically saying that she didn't even know. She thought John Krasinski was cast as Reed Richards in the upcoming. So she's pretty tuned into it all. And it's not her fault. It just doesn't seem like anybody's tuned in. We'll talk about that and more. And I think there's, what else? I mean, Coy saw Across the Spiderverse. We'll get his social kind of reaction to it. We'll talk about our anticipation for that show. The Flash is coming out soon. And Andy Muschetti decided, hey, it doesn't matter if people have seen it. I'm going to spoil some of the big reveals for you. How you feel about that? And we're not going to talk about what the reveal was, but we're going to talk about why he did it. And if you want to hear us talk about The Flash, well, we're going to be doing it with the guys from Double Toasted at June 23rd in New York, Manhattan. Myself, Brett, Jen, Kate, Mark Ellis doing stand-up. I think Corey and Martin might also. I'm not sure. But we'll definitely be doing the podcast version with those guys at the end. So you can get tickets now. Get your tickets, thekristianroloff.com. I always tell people saying, when are you going to the East Coast? Well, we're going. And you guys still haven't bought your tickets. So it means that you don't like us. That's it. It's Capes and Cowls. It's me. It's Winston and Coy. Let's do it, everybody. Boom. Thank you. Perfect. Great. Thank you. Yes, excellent. Good. Stupid day. This day is the worst. It really is.
It's so much chaos. We've been here like an hour of just everything going wrong.
I kind of just want to release for the episode just how many times we tried to start this.
It's just
We
so
tried
many
to start it with
scenes.
microphones, me editing. These guys showed up. My favorite was this. These guys showed up 20 minutes late today, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway because I was about an hour late at my own place, meaning I've been editing all day because it's things. That's all I'll say. And I'm telling you right now that the effort that goes into these shows, you put out a big thing episode and it's like, oh, okay, look, the views are higher than normal. And it's like, yeah, all right, man. And then you put 5-6 hours into editing. Either it's average or less viewers are looking forward to watching this one because they want to laugh at your plight. And it's like, what? Watch the freaking videos, will you? I'm like Roka now. You don't donate, I'll break your legs.
No, yelling at viewers is always the move.
That's always a method. Watch the episodes, even though they're watching this one right now.
You're to blame.
It's your fault. Your faults, everybody. I'll tell you what's not. As you guys saw in the beginning, that wonderful intro that Wicked Art did for us. Well, look at this. He's doing a comic book for us. He did one. Issue 1 is done of Capes and Cowls, and it's going to be exclusive to the website members, $10 and up. But it's like a full episode, and you can get it soon. It'll be available probably in June. June 1st is when we're looking at doing it. As PLD is watching this and hearing about this for the first time. But it is not. I've been talking to Wicked Art about this for quite a while. He's been working on it really hard, and we're going to be offering this. But there's Coy's speed talker on the left talking to Winston's Black Knight with me, the chairman, on the end there. There's a full detailed episode. There are some fun cameos.
It's bitch. I got a Taylor.
It's
pretty
they got the
amazing.
voice accurate. It's on brand.
It's pretty amazing. I was really happy with it. But you had an experience. You were at karaoke.
Yeah, I was at karaoke. A friend of mine, she we were just celebrating her, and while I was there, when I was getting ready to leave, I was pretty drunk. So I apologize ahead of time. I believe this gentleman's name is Ian. It might have been Mike. I don't remember. I'm very
similar.
Very
sorry.
You know, those names. It might be,
it could have been Lou. It might have been Irwin.
John, Bob.
But he came up to me and he goes, "Hey man, I am a massive Capes and Cowls fan. You guys have really gotten me through some stuff, and I just want to say thank you, and then he just like, here's $10, buy a shot on me. I said,
Do you know what he said right afterwards? He said, thanks, Billy. I appreciate it, Jeff. And then
He actually gave him 30, but he pocketed all of it. He's like, remember to give this to Coy and Kristian, but he forgot his name and he bought the
I was
drinks.
drunk singing the thong song, wobbling on I was about to say stilts, on crutches. All right, I was doing the best I could.
Still
okay?
Is thong song your go-to? Is that your go-to karaoke joint?
It wasn't that. It's that my girl goes, hey, you need to do something sexy right now. And I said, all right. And she thought I was going to sing Luke Bryan's Country Girl Shake It For Me because she loves that song. And I don't hate that song either, but I was like, something sexy.
You got to unleash the dragon. You got to get a little Drew Hill
Hey,
on.
ladies, this is everything that a guy talks about.
And he whipped out his penis.
Check it out.
Right there. He's like, unleash the
And
dragon.
knocked over 5 bar stools from 10 feet away.
All I know
Hit
is
that blue chew.
all I know is there were definitely some other white women over there being like, "Ooh, he's singing about that thong song," and Kristen would have gotten upset if it wasn't for the fact that some dude came over and tried to become friends with me, and then he goes, "Hey, so what's the deal with that cute white girl over there?" And I was like, "That's my girlfriend." He goes, "Cool, have a great day." He just like walked off.
Hilarious. But anyway, so that was thank you to Ian, Jeff, Bob, Sam.
Great guy.
But
I'm so sorry.
We kid. But the other thing that we did tape that segment to talk about that beforehand too, was one of the many mishaps that we had. But one of the things I brought up that I want to bring up again is on the website. I do these one-on-one sessions. There's like 12 spots. It's like a half an hour piece, but we added something new, which was great. And it's at the $35 tier. You will get one of the crew members. It's kind of like a grab bag. You don't know who you're gonna get for 15 minutes. And Winston just did one. Steph just did one. You have not done one yet.
I've not. I like the challenge of like the Russian roulette of this crew.
Yeah,
Just like,
yeah.
who are you gonna get?
Who are you gonna get? I love the idea of it. So it's true.
I feel like I'll have to tell y'all off air what happened, but there was a moment I was just messing with PLD.
Oh.
But
When?
you know, this for the
okay.
thing. You know what? I don't care. PLD will be fine. I literally just one of my favorite pastimes, because I do it now with a broken leg. I mess with people that but I mess with white people about black stuff, and the kid had no
that's
idea.
not a thing you do. What are you talking about?
I know. Kid had Black Knight. Kid had no idea that I was the person coming in, but PLD goes, "All right, man. So you the person you got here, make sure you work them hard." And I was like, PLD, did you just tell one black man to another black man to work him hard? Are you serious right now?
Did PLD just go?
He just goes, I just, that's not what I meant. You know I'm not that person. I'm like, I know you're not that person, but I'm just going to make sure that we took catalog of this. And the dude was like, And so, like, I just feel so bad.
Poor
I can see PLD's face right now. I can see it clear as day.
Poor guy. It's like the sweetest guy in the world.
He really is, which is like why I had to do
Had
it.
to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, too. Anyway, well, all right, you're a real scumbag. Let's get into some of these topics. I want to start with the Andy Muschetti thing. Let's talk about it. So I'm not going to tell you who, and I don't want to spoil it for you. I'm just going to get to this part here. That Muschetti was doing an interview with Variety, and he was talking about a key cameo in the feature in the article itself. And there's, we know that what they did with Henry Cavill with Superman and for Black Adam, and then Gal Gadot for Shazam. All that was ruined as the case for Shazam. They started showing it in the ads, for Gal Gadot to get, and for Henry Cavill, Rock was pretty much in interviews going, "Hey, ask me about that thing," right? So that was purely marketing, and I get it, because I do think that Henry Cavill brought, even though it didn't do great. I think it still brought some more money into the theater for sure.
Yeah.
And did Gal Gadot bring anyone else into the theater? I don't know, but that movie needed anything that it could get, clearly, because it ate a big pile of dog crap. But I don't think that the cameo that they announced in this thing, what I would say, after seeing the film, I don't think that was necessary. Has there been any news about tracking? Is this thing not tracking well? I feel like it's tracking really well.
It's been everyone's talk of the year.
Right.
I feel like The Flash kind of took over the year's conversation of
Right.
movies.
So
I
why
feel
would
like
you
it's
do
the
this?
known quantity.
Why would you do the other two movies? I understand for the shot, even though I don't agree with it. But like,
It's a
I understand
pessimistic view,
Yeah.
but my theory
It's thirsty
is
as F.
well, no, I think this is what marketing is now to some people. Like, I think that you look at how we market movies, and Fast X wasn't doing poorly, and another use of Gal Gadot. Like, they announced that she's in
they
it.
did that?
Yeah,
They announced her in that too.
publicly.
See, that's stupid.
And
Bro, I ain't seen it yet.
It's everywhere. I'm sorry.
I hate you.
It's been 2 weeks.
Shut your ass
But
up.
they said
Well,
it
but
day 3.
That's not even the one.
Marketing.
That's not even the one. I say I won't spoil it for you.
I think I know what the other one
That's,
is.
but that's,
Yeah.
there's a post-credit scene that Deadline ruined for Fast X.
I heard.
Yeah.
Which is and then Dan Merle did this whole thing on it where he's like, that's what scoop culture is. This guy goes, oh, I got a scoop. He's like, no, idiot, you saw the movie and then decided to post about it. And some people said, well, it could have been Universal saying, go ahead and leak
I was
that.
in Rome with Universal, and they didn't show it to us at the press
Oh,
screening
really?
the day before the premiere. They
Oh,
didn't.
wow.
They hadn't even aired it when that scoop came out because the scoop came
So
out
it
an
wasn't a
hour
leak.
into because the scoop came out an hour into the premiere, and it was attached to the premiere for the first time because our screening didn't even have it, so it wasn't Universal
Did the
because.
place go nuts when you watched it?
Yeah,
During that
yeah,
scene?
it was pretty
Okay.
special. But like we didn't have it on our press screening, which means it wasn't Universal because they were hiding it even
Right.
from us. So someone leaked it. But that's what worries me about like this new scoop culture is so many times I do like a non-spoiler review, and I'm sure you both get this in your comments too. You do a non-spoiler, and it's everyone asking for spoilers, and people have been like, I don't even mind spoilers. I'd rather just know. And it's like what people want is to be
Was
spoiled.
that Kevin Smets in every comment?
Just every comment,
Yeah,
just him
he
and
loves
his voice.
spoilers.
But like there's the culture of people like seeking spoilers out, and then they just like recycle them. So then you say like I'm not gonna say blah blah blah, and then people copy and paste spoilers into other people's comments and stuff. It's a cancer. So
Yeah,
I think that people seek it now as part of the marketing.
I mean, I get that, but that's not new.
No,
That's
but
been
it's gotten
happening.
worse.
It's gotten worse, but it's different from when it gets worse in the comment section as opposed to the director going, "Hey." Now it doesn't. What I will say is this: that the cameo does not spoil any plot points, where I do think that the other ones do.
Yeah, the fast ones.
It's this isn't going to get anybody in the theater. It doesn't change anything. It's not going to ruin your experience if you know it. It's just not going to get that same kind of like, whoa, that's and I don't think everybody's going to understand it. I think some people will, but
the point of those moments is the surprise. So
Yeah.
why get rid of the surprise? Like you
Right.
engineered this moment to be like exciting because it's
Right.
novel. You get rid of the novelty if I go like, well, I read that.
yeah, and it doesn't. The other thing is too that it did seem, as you said, thirsty before. I think that and as much as I love The Rock, I think the Henry Cavill thing was about as thirsty as you get because it's like
Absolutely.
we need to get people in and watch this movie. I don't think this one is that because this isn't a matter of you from when you find out what it is. It's not something that's gonna. It's not a Henry
Make or
Cavill
break
moment.
anything.
It's not something that people are gonna go. I need to buy tickets for this. It's just cool, and it doesn't have anything to really do with anything.
What it feels like to me, and this is just how we've become as a society when you consider like how content is fed to us and how we interact with social media, and now everything is a binge theory model. I think it's this idea that we just don't have patience, and I don't know if maybe Andy was just too hype or if it was
Warner Brothers
planned.
had to sign off on it.
So if that's the
Yeah.
case, then that unfortunately people are looking at this and thinking that let's just further give into that. And I don't think that that is the right move. I
Right.
think like a parent that like when your child goes, I want it and I want it now, a parent goes, you sit your little ass down and you wait.
Right.
I think it would have made more sense to just let us wait for it and let it happen.
I agree, and I think that another thing that would be beneficial to them is the movie comes out, air that the next day.
Yeah.
Because
Have
that's
that
like-
be your second wave.
Look, if you have not seen the movie,
This might
don't
incentivize.
read this yet, and because it's all these, and maybe Vanity Fair or whatever it was Vanity Fair, Variety, I don't
Variety,
know,
I think.
Variety, whatever it was. I don't know if they did or not, but like I was reading off of Dark Horizons. What they did very well was they said, don't read past this line if you don't want to be spoiled. I don't know if Variety did that. It seems a lot of times the worst spoiler that I've ever gotten that I was furious about.
Tobey Maguire's dick.
No, that I was furious about was the one that I was absolutely furious about was the Harry Potter. It was the third one. It was the
Okay.
third one.
Let's
No,
tell me
no.
what
I had just
happens.
finished the third one. I read the book. I was reading this. I was
Oh.
reading the 3 books, and then I saw the movies, and then I had not read the other ones yet. And Entertainment Weekly. And now I don't care if you haven't seen the Harry Potter movies. Now I'm going to spoil something.
been a
for somebody.
decade and a half.
It's been a while now. So if you haven't seen it, I don't care.
Bruce Willis is dead at the end of Sixth Sense.
Right, but so I'm reading this article, and the movie's like, well, I wonder how they're going to handle it, being that Gary Oldman's character dies in book 5, and I'm like, what are you doing? These
so
movies
far.
haven't come out. Don't expect that everyone has read these things. What are you doing? I was so upset because it didn't say spoiler.
Oh.
It didn't say anything. It just like matter of fact, and it's like, hey, a-hole face. Cut it out, and it's like this and that. But
See, I got
as you
spoiled
said-
because the image of the cameo was someone posted that as their on social media
Yeah.
as their image, and it didn't give me the chance. Didn't say spoiler because it was on Instagram, was on a platform where it's just images, and I found out because I was scrolling, just not avoiding, because I've muted Flash and I've muted some words.
It's tough to, and
but once it's out, it's out.
It's hard to avoid when the director's telling people about it. So, and that's probably why the particular person that you saw said, okay, the director's talking about it. There you go.
It's part of the marketing.
Right. But either way, I don't see the need for this particular one. I think when you guys see the movie, you'll agree with me. I just don't see, like, it's not one of those things. If it was tracking, and even if it was tracking bad, which it isn't, if it was, I don't think this is something that's like, oh, you know what? Well, he said that person's going to be in it. I'm going to see it now. It's not, I can see that with the Henry Cavill thing. I don't see it with this, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm very curious to hear what you guys think. Go ahead and comment. Let me know exactly what you think. All right, next story here. All right, guys. Deadpool 3. It started filming today, or yesterday, rather. And there's more speculation that Halle Berry is going to return as Storm in this particular movie. There is a new photo that was shared by Berry on social media and has led to speculation about the actress reprising the role of Storm in Deadpool 3. Now, Deadpool 3, we know that has either had begun production or is about to. There was, I think, the actor who plays Colossus posted something and then quickly removed it because I always picture like the Sebastian of the executives calling, going, "Hey, guy, what are you doing? Do you know that right now there's a writer's strike and you're posting on your little Instagram that you have a job? What's wrong with you?" And quickly.
In the role of Kevin Feige, played by Sebastian Stan in all upcoming films.
Yeah.
Sebastian, has he ever done like a biopic, a Maniscalco? Has he ever like played someone else?
He's got a movie coming out this weekend with De Niro about my father. It's about him.
Yeah.
But are you serious?
Yeah, him and Bert have opposing movies coming out.
No, yeah, I know
Bert as the
was
Machine, and then he's got Sebastian as About My Father, which is De Niro plays his dad.
No
and
way.
He goes to,
oh, you mean it's actually called About My Father? Yeah. I thought he was doing a movie about your father. I was like,
as you look up, there's a poster of the two of you together. It's like, he's playing my dad. He's my pops.
You know, I haven't talked to you in a bit, but I was thinking, your dad kind of looks like Dr. Emmett Brown now.
The Papa Harloff story.
A movie about Papa H. No. He's doing a movie with De Niro.
I had no idea. That's crazy.
Yeah, the trailer's pretty funny.
Good for him.
Anyway,
Bert's movie looks great. I've heard it's good.
Yeah. Either way. So, what the hell with Deadpool? We'll talk about Deadpool first. Deadpool started filming, and the writer strike happens, and the rules are, because I talked about this on Big Thing yesterday. The rules are essentially that because Ryan Reynolds is a writer on the movies, he is not allowed to improvise anything. So the script that they have that was turned in before the writer strike, so you're not crossing any lines. People can have their opinions of whether or not they should do it or should not do it, but they're in the means, they're in the legal thing to do it, or not scabbish, if you will. But they can't change. They can't change anything.
Right.
They can't have anybody else write anything. Whatever that script is, that's it.
But I think the bigger one that you said is no improvising, and
that's
the thing
right.
is. The issue with that, and you're really playing with fire. I understand Ryan Reynolds is like a regular in the industry for decades now. Mm-hmm. For somebody that comedy is coming that quickly, what's to stop a slip from happening? And obviously they have the script, so they can look at it and go, "We have to cut that."
That's what it is, yeah.
You know, but it seems not worth it. Just wait. Your idea.
Well, this is the reason. So this is why what I think, and I talked about this briefly on yesterday's show. This is where you could see them going in their meeting, to where they go, okay, so we have to start shooting this. We have to follow this script. So Sean Levy and Reynolds go, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get all the exterior shots. We're going to get all the stuff that we can get. We can get some action scenes. We get all of the stuff that is just simple one-liners. We get other characters that don't have to improvise, that can just talk, shoot their scenes. And in more comedic things, we wait. We plan that out later, and then we also can do reshoots.
I think the mask is going to help a lot.
Yeah,
because if you've got him talking and then later in ADR, because a lot of that's miming in ADR later, and I think that'll allow the improving. But I do worry that this strike might last longer than the shooting schedule.
That's my next point. My next point was that if they're crossing their fingers, normally these shoots can take anywhere between 4 or 5 months, right? Yeah. So if they start today and doing exteriors and action and everything, and that pushes you into July, where they're crossing their fingers, hoping that July. Some people say July, August. I think this thing's going into 2024.
I'm worried it's quarter one.
It's not just that. We're in the middle of. I mean, Coy and I are both in the. Are you in SAG? So we all just. We're in the middle of the voting process to authorize a strike for SAG. So fine, you're gonna get 3 weeks in, and then all of a sudden you're gonna have to fully shut down.
They're gonna have to shut down. That's what I had said, because it was. I said game over if
SAG joins, and I feel like it's almost inevitable.
I don't know, because if they're going into production, because they're not dumb, they know that that's the case too. So I think they're gonna try to get that done sooner than later, because Winston had said, well, why wouldn't you just, before we start shooting, so why wouldn't you just push it back? The problem is, you got to, again, look at Disney. We're using Disney as this example. And I use Strange World and Lightyear as two examples of movies that lost them close to $200 to $300 million a piece, right? Wow. They lost a lot of money, then plus all the damage that Chapek did with all the streaming stuff and all that. They're in a hole.
Yeah.
Deadpool 3 is one of their money makers, right? So they need, and that movie's supposed to come out, it's supposed to come out in June or February of next year.
I think they moved it to June. I think it was originally February.
Right?
I think it's a summer release.
Either way, and that proves my point more, that they're really confident in what it can do because of what the first two movies did, pushing it into the summer, making all this money, and getting production amped up to go. But then they have to have movies in production in order to have money coming in later on.
Look, here's where I'm kind of like, you know what would solve all these problems? Just negotiate, because you're losing more money in theory by trying to wait this out. And that's really the danger.
They're not losing money yet.
Not for
the city's losing. Los Angeles as an industry is losing $3 million a day or $30 million a day.
Sure, but
the studios care about
the studios don't give a F.
No. I understand that, but that includes what they're bringing in or not bringing in from these things by this not happening. So I understand that, but I'm saying the faster money saving thing is to just negotiate.
Well, but they're waiting to negotiate until their contracts that they have already that run out, and then they can save all that money. Again, we talked about this kind of various times. They wanted this to happen.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily want the SAG thing to happen, but they want this to happen.
They certainly don't want the DGA to strike.
No.
That's when it's going to be over quicker.
Right. So they wanted this to happen because of all the streaming deals and everything that was put into place, deals that they don't have to honor anymore because they either expire or all this other stuff. They don't have to do it. So they're waiting for it. And so July is really when they're going to start negotiating. Now, that's why I think it's going to go further, because when they really start negotiating, it's not like they're going to go, okay, let's go back to work.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it's a good job. Thanks, guys.
I think with Deadpool in particular, since that's what we're talking about, I think the scheduling of the amount of stars that I think are going to be in this movie, I do think the Halle Berry rumor is true, because I do think it's going to be Deadpool kills the Fox universe, which is what I've been saying since Collider. I think this movie is going to be a continuity cleaning device, which is going to be delightful because only Deadpool could do it. But that means you had to schedule all of these A-list talents a year ago. So I think the reason they're forced into filming is, if you want to make a movie, you front load it with all the crazy scheduling, and then you allow for a little run over as you go along.
Right.
So it could work that you have all the guest stars, all the cameos, all the insanity film now, but you have to live by that script, and you get all that done while the schedule works, and then you hope the strike doesn't happen, and then you do all the voiceover.
But the thing is, that could happen.
It could, and then everything's messy.
Is that the farther along it goes, even if SAG and DJ don't go on strike and they're shooting, you're shooting on one script.
Yeah, and you're shooting on borrowed time.
You can't change. So it's inevitable that once the strike is done, maybe again why it's pushed into June, that you're gonna get rushed reshoots.
What really worries me, not having the improv, but then also just from any number of stuff that I've done, you need the room to be able to like change things around,
right?
Because
stuff works on the day. You're like, oh, that's brilliant. Let's this, yes, and that.
Yeah, they're gonna be in a position where they're gonna. This has happened. It was something like a really famous movie. I can't remember what it was, and they were talking about something, and somebody did something. It's like I can't remember. It was like a really famous moment. Somebody did it on the spot, and the director's like, "Yeah, go with that. Do that instead."
It happens a lot. Like The Martian with Donald Glover, when Donald Glover falls, and they keep that shot of him, and that makes his character. That's his introduction.
If there's a moment that happens, and that's a great question. Let's say someone falls.
Yeah.
And let's say something happens. That's not in the script. They have to cut it out.
Yep.
Right. But they can keep it. But they keep the footage and hope that the strike is done. They go, let's remember that shot. Put that. But if they get to a place where it's still going on, it's crazy.
I can't think of a more improv necessary comic book movie
than
Deadpool
one.
3.
Absolutely.
And I can't think of a more necessary movie for Marvel than Deadpool 3. Like I would argue Deadpool 3 is the pre-Avengers Avengers as far as what they need, and it's also the thing they need to be improv heavy. So this is the worst case scenario for a movie filming right now. But I don't see any other option because they've set a release date and they've also set all these characters and actors. They're in a lose-lose situation. I'm just hoping,
especially with Blade getting the hit again.
Dude, that movie's been shut down more than it started.
You think Blade's gonna happen?
I think Blade has to happen, but I don't. I don't. I think Mahershala wants it really bad. I think Kevin Feige knows how important it is.
That's the better question. Do you think it happens with Mahershala? I say no. I think Mahershala's
going to he's going to back out?
I think he's going to be done with it, dude. I think he's going to say enough is enough. I'm out. I think
he's really invested, but man, it'd be frustrating because he's invested.
That's what I'm saying. But it's been pushed back because of writers and directors, and then now because of the strike. I mean, they're going to have to rework it and how it even plays into the MCU.
Yeah.
He's gonna. If I'm him, I'm going. You know what? Stick me in DC or stick me in Star Wars or something. I'm out of here.
He's gotten New Mutants pretty hard.
Yeah. You know what? You know what is actually really interesting, and I think that this is a kind of a weird, just like way to hindsight 2020. This obviously you have to put out a good product to go on a run like the MCU did for the first 3 phases.
Yeah,
but similar to a sports team that like does go and win the championship, you also just kind of have to be healthy.
Right.
And to be honest with you, what's really screwing them now is, like you said before when we were talking about this, the pandemic hamstrung the hell out of them.
Yeah.
Consider that a massive like injury bug for all the players. Doing all these sports analogies, and now with these strikes coming up too, that's a whole nother string of injuries that's screwing your flow up.
Yeah. And to go with your sports analogy, Chepek was an overwrought coach that was trying to play his players to the ground, so everyone was unhealthy because they were burning them out.
They were dehydrated.
Exactly. Chepek never gave them the electrolytes, and then now we've got players that are sick and they're playing anyway, and we had like a bunch of bad games because we played in bad conditions of COVID.
Because he added like 8 more games to the schedule.
Exactly. Yeah, he's like, they're fine. We got this. We're MVPs. And then COVID came in. We're playing in the mud. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
So like I really think.
Do we need to make this a segment?
Is
just like
this
a
a
30-second segment.
People loved
sports
it.
Analogy. Apparently,
they liked it. It's so easy to do because of all the stuff how it worked out. But
also the mediums totally. We talked about UFC. I think that honestly, the biggest one I've seen that ties into what I think of with sporting is that Conor fighting Khabib as a wrestler is like releasing movies on streaming when they should be in theaters. Like, it's just not. You can be the best athlete you want. You can be incredible at the thing, but you can't make money doing a thing that's $200 million on a streamer. Conor shouldn't have tried to wrestle Khabib, and it changed his whole morale. And now he's not the same fighter, and Marvel's not the same studio.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's just too much. There was too much, and they added too much to the training camp, if you will. But either way, what's happening with
sports?
What's happening with this movie, Deadpool? I get why they're doing it. I do. I think it definitely handcuffs them. I think they're going to do what they can to shoot as much as they can. It's going to be. I think Disney's prepared to do a lot of reshoots because they're going to need it. But this is just the one of many that it's going to have to start doing this. The more and more, the deeper and deeper that the writer's strike gets. So it's just a matter of how they're going to make it work. And I know there's a lot of people out there, and they're on the line. And it's, I'll tell you what, it hasn't been warm out there. It's been cold.
No, it's been These are champions.
We need to get them RUMPL blankets. I'll tell you that. We need to get some RUMPL blankets, everybody. I'd say about both RUMPL blankets, and then hopefully, you're not standing out anywhere too long, because if you were outside of anywhere, your balls can get hairy. And I'll tell you about that as well with Manscaped. RUMPL is back. I love RUMPL. I've been telling you about RUMPL. Please tell me that you've been getting them. Please. And tell me what you think of them, because they are amazing. They're on a mission to introduce the world to better blankets because they're made with durable, sustainable materials, and they're built to last. They recycle over 5 million plastic water bottles a year, and they are B Corp certified, climate neutral, and they donate 1% of all their sales to environmental causes. They're built to endure the elements because RUMPL blankets are made with durable materials that repel spills, sand, stains, and odor no matter where you bring it. If it gets dirty, just throw it in the washing machine. So what I love about them also, by the way, it's not just for outdoors. Really good for, you can get one where you just watch some TV on the couch, kick back. It's pretty great. You can bring one out to the movie theater with you. It keeps you warm and comfy. I love them. I take them everywhere. I take them to the kids' soccer games. I take them to, we do picnics, and then I just take them inside. Now, if you guys want to check this out, you want to do what I'm doing, go to rumpl.com/thebigthing, but use that code BIGTHING at the checkout, and you'll get 10% off of your first order. rumpl.com/thebigthing, code THEBIGTHING. Summer is coming. Who's ready for the beach? Well, Manscaped is here to ensure that your body is ready for the wild with their game-changing full-body grooming and hygiene products. Who wants to be that guy, the Austin Powers chest hair, walking around like a putz? If you grew some of those winter man tits, well, the least you can do is make sure that they're hairless. It is time to get ready for hot guy summer. You go to manscaped.com, 20% off, and you get free shipping. Got to use that code Big Thing. I love Manscaped. I've been using them forever. You guys know that. You know I've been talking about them. That freaking nose trimmer is my life. I love it. The Weed Whacker 2.0. Oh, just the performance package in general. It's dedicated to help you increase your confidence and level up your full body grooming game. It is true. It comes with the essential lawnmower 4.0. 4.0. Yeah, you can take a canoe because it's waterproof. And it is a cordless body trimmer and a ton of other liquid formulations to round out your grooming routine. It doesn't matter. It's so great. I love them. If you're wearing sandals now, you need to get the Manscaped Shears 2.0 nail kit. They have everything. They have everything. I love Manscaped. Nobody should be walking around without Manscaped. You should all have it. Every household should have Manscaped. 20% off and free shipping. Use that code BIGTHING at manscaped.com. 20% off and free shipping with the code BIGTHING at manscaped.com. Trim your chesticles with the besticles. Get Manscaped. That's their new tune. And now,
If you're standing outside, your balls can get hairy, is how we get the sponsor. The plug is literally, you know what happens when you're outside? Your balls get hairy. Oh, that's good.
hold on. All right, I just want to thank you for RUMPL blankets again. And don't stand outside for too long.
I'm now picturing someone using a Manscaped over a RUMPL blanket in the cold, and it's just growing like a bush in real time.
Like Rip Van Winkle.
It's just chia pet of just like
His balls, it's just growing, and you can't even see it anymore.
just like fighting the good fight. It's
It's
like,
like
"God,
a bad.
no.
It's like a Tim Burton movie.
It's
down
so
there.
cold.
So get yourself some Manscaped. Get the RUMPL blankets. Do what you got to do. Thank you to both of them for joining us on the show as a sponsor. We love them so much, and one of the main reasons I love both of them is that you can have some fun while talking about them because I love them so much. But go ahead and you support the show and you help us out tremendously.
Rumple Ballskin.
RUMPL balls.
Slept for too long. Was too comfortable.
Sure it is. Stood out there way too long. Let's talk about this next story here. All right. So Elizabeth Olsen, you know her as Wanda, and she's the Scarlet Witch, and she was in Multiverse of Madness. So she was talking to our buddy Josh Horowitz on his show Happy, Sad, Confused, which is great. If you haven't checked it out, you should. And she was reflecting on the sequel's seemingly endless rewrites, confirming that early plans for Daniel Craig to make a cameo appearance was also happening. And this is, again, coming from Comic Book Movie. He said that while it already appeared from watching the movie itself, we learned that Doctor Strange had a ton of rewrites. And basically inside of this whole thing, I read this article on yesterday's show, it's that she had said that there were so many different rewrites every time that eventually she was just like, just give me the stuff that I need to do because there was just so much happening, and with the pandemic and everything that was going on, it was exhausting after a bit, right? And then she also confirmed that Daniel Craig was set to play. There was rumors that he was set to play Thor's brother. What was his name? It's hold on a second, not Loki. Where is it? I'll tell you right now. It said that the guy's name was Balder the Brave.
Oh, that's right. I remember hearing that.
Yeah, so Balder the Brave, and Craig had denied it and said never going to happen. She's like, oh yeah, it's going to happen. They built the costume out and everything for him. I don't know why that hadn't happened. And then you saw the whole interview. So did they say something along the
Adam
lines
Driver
of,
bit. Yeah.
So what was that? What happened?
So basically, like he asked her about Adam Driver playing Mr. Fantastic,
Yeah.
and she was like confused because she thought John Krasinski was playing him. Like, why would they do that?
Right.
I can't believe the lack of communication because, like, it's
think
not
she's
like
tuned
she's
out,
not
too.
well, like she clearly wants to be just removed and
Yeah.
do her part.
Yeah.
But it speaks more to the fact that they don't have a conversation about the big picture
Yeah.
in a way that feels like it's productive for her. Because as an actress, she's really invested in the character. Like, I interviewed her for this movie, and we talked about the comic influences, the run she enjoyed, what she wants to do in the future, the overall arc of her character, and the passion's there and her investment's there because she did the homework, she did the research. What blows my mind is Kevin Feige looks at a 10-year plan and he's got all these ideas and he knows where he wants things to go. It's like there's something in the middle that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And that's what's crazy is Kevin Feige knows what he wants. Kevin Feige's been very clear about the fact that he cast John Krasinski for a moment because he wanted the fans to have their moment, but it was only for that moment. The fact that the communication doesn't get back to Elizabeth Olsen about that is odd to me, considering that's going to impact her in the future, potentially, most likely.
Right.
Question: is it possible that this very talented actress was just acting when she said, "I thought it was John Krasinski"?
Nah, what is she? She's got
I don't think she has any reason to.
she's got no investment in it. She's not going to be in it and everything. She's like, what does she care at this point? It's like, but yeah, she probably just is not tuned into it. You know, she like they even asked her. Josh asked her. I think it was in the same interview. He basically said, "What do you do when someone you know, like, does this happen? Like an actor who says like, hey, I'm thinking about doing a Marvel movie. Like, should I not do this? What should I do?" And she's like, "Yeah, I get that." He's like, "What do you normally say to them?" She's like, "I don't know if I should say it." She's like, she goes, "I say, give him one," is what she said. Like, you give him one. That to me is just like, she spent a lot of time as that character, man. She spent a lot of time. And then especially at the end, like I think that she was also playing in it because she's a pro. And I think she was, if you got her with the microphone off, and this is still a pretty telling interview, but if you got it with off, she'd probably be like, it's so frustrating. And I couldn't believe, like, her soundbite, I don't think it was from Josh's show, it was recently, about how the writers didn't watch WandaVision. I think she was pissed about it. I can't confirm that, but from what I've gotten in her things, and it makes sense, and I don't care. That's one, as you said before, why didn't they push it a little bit? And I was like, you can't because of the schedule and everything too. And I understand that might be the same answer. But if you're trying to make a Marvel Cinematic Universe that ties into everything and it makes sense, it behooves you to have your writers watch the freaking show.
And if it's not done, read the scripts. Like there's a version of it.
There's a way you can know what's going on.
It's the same thing I said last week. This is essentially, even though it's done with movies, this is this giant writer's room.
Yeah.
You have to know what happens episodes 1 through 8 before you write 9. Like, you at least need to have the outline of what's happening.
Right.
You can't just do whatever the hell you want.
That to me is also, that was during the Chapek regime. I think Chapek cared about.
No, I honestly think
continuity and
that's
that
why
stuff?
he had this movie be so many different things, because we lost Scott Derrickson on it. We changed to like a director not
could
long
see
out,
why.
and like. And I love Scott's work, and I would have loved to have seen, and like, no disrespect to Sam Raimi, because he made a great Sam Raimi movie, but it wasn't connected to the MCU in a way that I felt validated the character's arc. And then I would have loved to have seen what Scott wanted to do with that character, and I feel like maybe that's what Elizabeth Olsen also, like, she is so passionate about the character. I don't think any of this is her not wanting to. I think it's her being frustrated and going like, stop sending me scripts. Like, I will read it when we have it, because this is already not what I want to be doing.
It's changing every 5 seconds. It's like, am I shooting this? Am I not shooting? That's pressing on an actor, like, to learn those roles, and then it's those lines, and then it's like, oh no, we're doing something else now. She's like, just send me what I'm supposed to do.
That, and remember, she did come off of that show, which is its own level of work to do all that.
Right.
And on top of that, as prolific as an actress as she is at this point, another show she just did came out. The one with
the one where she's like
Jesse
a serial
Plemons,
killer, right?
The one with Jesse Plemons, where they're doing they have like an affair or something like that. So it's like, she's got a lot to do, and to read a script, and then really dive in and do your homework, like you mentioned, is a lot of. So at one point you're like, I'm done. I'm not doing this again.
But that's my point. Like, if you're off doing all those stuff and trying to do something outside of Marvel now to establish yourself, you think you care who's cast as Reed Richards if you don't have to? You think you care? It's
No.
like so in the same argument is like, if she's not involved in their timeline, it's really not on them to even tell her that.
No, it's not on them. It's just, it's odd to me that in her own movie, she didn't realize that moment was only for that purpose. Like, in her own universe.
Right.
Like, she literally
Right.
killed him. So like, in that moment, that communication, not about Fantastic Four movie, but the fact that
She
John
thought that he
Krasinski-
would play
Yeah.
it was a one-off for Feige always, right?
Right.
But,
so that
but
seems odd to me, that since she literally is the one that ends him.
Maybe Feige wasn't telling the truth. Maybe Krasinski was in the lead to maybe play him, and he didn't want to do it. Or maybe they wanted to offer him a deal to direct it, and maybe he's like, it's not working out. I don't want to do it. I know there's a lot of commitment to it. I don't want to be locked in and do that many. I
Anything
don't know.
creative moves a lot. I don't envy Feige, because we look to him going like, hey, what's the truth? And like, there is no one truth, because you're right, it does change constantly. So you're right. I mean, anything could have evolved.
Anything.
But it is interesting that both Krasinski and Kevin Feige have said the same thing about it, and that doesn't register with her experience.
Yeah, right. But because that also could be an agreement between the two of them to say like, hey, let's just
Let's agree this is what it was.
Let's just say this. I also think that you call it what it is. I just think that the Marvel luster, the shine has gone down a bit for actors and talent as well too. It's like the money hasn't, but the shine for the property. It's like, remember, there was a time when you would put out a Marvel movie. It's like critics loved it, everybody loved it. It seemed like it was just Teflon.
Yeah,
it's not the case anymore, and that's inevitable.
Right. Nothing lasts forever.
No.
Like, Rome fell. Like everything just ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Right? There's the Empire.
MCU was the Rome of comic book movies. It really was. And it's like,
It was the
I
Rome of movies.
don't think Rome's burning yet. I don't think Rome's burning
I
yet.
didn't say it's over.
I didn't say Rome's burning.
You can
but
still visit Rome.
There were times again, if we're going past now sports references,
Sure.
there were times when when Julius Caesar was running the joint and it was at its height, and then there were other times when there was Nero burnt the thing down and other stuff, but it went through ebbs and flows.
It feels like that. I'm gonna go full sports again. This feels like the Warriors. It feels like this idea that they had this dynasty that they kind of ran like throughout the teen thousands, the teen 2000s or whatever. And like now they still made the playoffs, but they just didn't really have that same hit. Even though they won a championship last year, they just didn't have that same kind of sauce. It's kind of the same thing. I think you have the Shang-Chi, you have the Spider-Man that like, it's like, oh, we won a chip, but like it's up and down. It's up and down.
Yeah, and I think that's why, and one of the reasons, as Coy said before, they're really pushing Deadpool because they need it. They need Deadpool. They need the big one. Because it's also something Coy had said many times over, is that the Marvels is the last movie that they have that was written in the same mindset as the other ones that we just saw. Now I'm not saying reshoots maybe didn't change that up or other things too, but it's the same one. So they hopefully deliver on it.
Yeah.
And it ends it pretty well, and they could start kind of maneuvering into a new thing. So anyway, a couple other things I wanted to talk to you guys about. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp is something that has been helping out a lot of people that I know, that I'm close to, and it could really help you out. I'll tell you a little bit more about them right now. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Love BetterHelp. Happy to be working with them. Already, BetterHelp has helped out close friends of mine and helped me out. Recommendations. They're really great. And I'll tell you that for you guys, how much time, honestly, do you really spend on yourself in a given week versus how much you spend on other people? How do you balance the two? It's easy to get caught up in what everyone else needs from you, and you never really take a moment to think about what you need for yourself. A lot of times, especially when you want to help your family, you want to help people out when they call you up, and it's like, who's helping you? And you give a lot of time giving, and what happens? You feel stretched thin, and you feel burned out. Therapy can give you the tools to find more balance in your life so you can keep supporting others. Roxy is someone who's very close to me, and she's cool with me talking about it. She'll talk about it in just a second. Roxy was looking for somebody to talk to. I recommended BetterHelp, and she has really benefited from it. So she's been talking to her person for a while now. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. Seriously, it's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, it's flexible, and it's suited to your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and then you can switch therapists anytime, no additional charge. Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/bigthing today, and you'll get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/bigthing. Thank you once again to our friends over at BetterHelp. I cannot tell you how many people that we have brought to the attention of BetterHelp, and they have helped tremendously. Roxy Strider being one of them. She talked about it a lot on this show, and we hope that if you're able to and you need someone to talk to, you'll try BetterHelp. So use that link in the description. All right, before we move on to another one of the, I guess, huge stories here, one of the things that I wanted to talk to Coy about, it's a pretty big story. Coy was one of the few people that got a chance to see Across the Spiderverse. You can't say much.
Yeah, it's the social embargo's up. I can say that it was the first screening of the completed film, and that what can I say? That would be about the sentence length. I think it was genius in the amount of drama it trusted the audience to have, and that the metamodernism of Lord and Miller is used really interestingly here in a new way, and that it might be my favorite Spider-Man film of all time. And that includes Spider-Verse, that includes No Way Home, and everybody knows how much I love those two. It is so special, and it elevates the entire medium of animation all over again like Spider-Verse did. It's 220.
Wow, that's pretty long for an animated film.
And it's very powerful.
It got 220?
me. Yeah. It's a lot.
That's long.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I
So
mean,
that's like
here-
3 tweets worth.
I'm here for it. Animated films, you're clocking at 90 minutes.
No, it's 220, and it doesn't feel long. At no point was I thinking about the length of the movie, but I definitely am really glad it wasn't rushed like some things could be, especially with how much stimuli. Like you've seen it's a lot. It could, sometimes you can edit those and make it be like, okay, we got to finish up this time.
2 hours and 20 minutes. I thought you were saying 220 minutes long, and I was like, what?
That's
the
3 hours
hell?
and 40 minutes. Yeah. No, 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is still,
It's
ample.
still long. It's still long,
but
but
still, yeah, it's still long.
But it doesn't
Doesn't feel that way.
it doesn't bend under the weight of
It
itself.
doesn't feel long in the tooth.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. All
And,
right.
absolutely adored it. And I would recommend seeing it sooner than later as far as
Spoilers.
how the internet, I'm afraid the TV spots might even.
Okay.
Like, I'm afraid
I'm not
that,
watching anything else on it.
and you
anymore.
shouldn't, I think.
Yeah, I
but
thought the last trailers gave away too much anyway.
that's less of a concern than,
Okay.
I'm excited to talk to you about it because
Okay.
we differed on that.
Okay.
But I do think that it's a movie that I appreciated having the experience of novelty with, and we just talked about the thing that was showed by WB. I don't think Sony will go that far, but I do think there are things that word of mouth might change.
Got it. All right. Well, look, that is Across the Spider-Verse. Those are really like social thoughts more than anything else. And myself, I think, Winston, are you going to see it next week?
I'm going with you.
You're going with me, right? Yeah. Okay. So Winston's going to see it with me next Tuesday. And we'll have our out of the theater reactions out on that. And then we're going to be talking, obviously, for Capes and Cowls next week, kind of the preview of it, and then we'll do a full spoiler on that movie on the Monday following it. So just make sure you check that out. All right, I do want to talk about this comic book movie list, so let's jump into it. Here we go. Okay, so comic book movie has done a few different lists before. They did a Batman casting list. They did a Green Arrow, a Green Lantern casting list. Now, this is an interesting list. This is 8 villains who could replace Jonathan Majors' Kang the Conqueror as the Multiverses Saga new big bad. Now, I'm just going to go over, this is from Josh Wilding over at Comic Book Movie. I'm just going to read who they think it could be. Now, they obviously with the troubles that Majors is going through right now is a potential. Not only does he not only get recast, if he doesn't get recast, could they replace him with different villains? And the first one is, and correct me if I pronounce any of these wrong, because I might.
I got you.
Maestro. There you go. Maestro is right away. Maestro is the first. I know nothing about this person. This would be a major pivot, but even if greater than Kang is about to emerge from multiverse, why not this formidable Hulk variant? Hailing from a post-apocalyptic reality, Maestro is a brutal tyrant who is stronger, more experienced, and more ruthless and sadistic than his current self. Despite not having the most storied history on the page, he could easily serve as the basis for turning the Kang Dynasty into World War Hulk. Okay, so that's Maestro. And the next one is Dr. Doom, which is what a lot of people thought anyway. The comic books have long toyed with the idea of Doom and Kang being related. Either way, the latter is definitely inspired by Fantastic Four. There's no denying it would be tough to throw this villain into the mix at the history where the first family isn't explored beforehand, but that's not necessarily the case. In fact, his defeat at Reed Richards' hands could even be what prompts Doom to target the team in their future adventures. Okay, that was Doom. Number 6, Ultron. Marvel Studios would need to tread carefully here, particularly as they would run the risk of repeating what we've already seen in What If. However, Ultron's return is long overdue, and a live-action Infinity Ultron might be the way to do it if Kang needs to be replaced. The story could be changed a little, and the results stand a chance of being epic. All right. And then 5, Anus.
Nihilist.
The ultimate foe.
Especially after the dinner we just had.
How's that pizza?
That's right. So Annihilus, who looks like an Iron Man in a Fantastic Four villain, received a major upgrade on the page when he headed into outer space and assembled an army that led to the cosmos. So yada yada yada. Loki, no, God no, not Loki again, please. As a villain, Loki was where we first introduced the MCU's on the multiverse. It won't be endgame variant, yada yada yada. So Loki is another option. Iron Lad.
That is an offshoot of Kang.
Yeah, it's a variant of Kang, which is a part of the Young Avengers, and he disguises himself and reveals himself. It's a big twist. And spoiler alert for the Young Avengers.
Interesting. Okay, so young, and then 2 is Apocalypse.
It's not bad. You're bringing in mutants anyway.
Yeah, Apocalypse, and then 1 is the Beyonder.
Which I feel like we're getting anyway because of Secret Wars.
So, actually, you want to go first? Do you want to go through this?
So
Yeah.
all these, I don't understand any of these. Yeah.
I think the best. I'm assuming that Beyonder's already coming because of Secret Wars.
I had actually assumed they were going to use Kang as a Beyonder stand-in because of the character being very like of the time, like the tracksuit, the big Jerry curls, the you know what I mean. He's very, so I thought Kang might just be the thing there, but there's an element of the Beyonder that's like a fish out of water. So sorry, the Beyonder is the kind of creator, kind of a god figure that is putting the Secret War together. So he wants to know who would win, good or bad, and basically makes like a chessboard and picks good and bad and like pits them against each other. And then when all the catastrophic trauma to the space-time force of reality makes a patchwork, Doom runs that battle world. So that's why Doom comes into play in a big way in the more recent Secret Wars.
I'm exhausted hearing all
That's
this.
a lot.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
it's a
Not gonna
lot.
lie to you.
But I think probably the 3 best on there are Beyonder, Doom, and honestly, Maestro isn't a terrible one, especially because people have been asking for more Hulk anyway, and a lot of people feeling like, oh, we do. Professor Hulk is fine, but people are just missing like Hulk. Maestro is essentially if you took Professor Hulk, but then made him a ruthless serial killer.
He's like a dictator Hulk.
So
So
wouldn't they introduce him in like, because you said that
Cap 4 is
Captain
very...
America, so it's very Hulk oriented,
It's
right?
time. You could do it now. And I think with the Hulu merger with Disney Plus, that does allow for a different Universal relationship. Because what I've thought is that Universal wants more stake in Hulu, and if they start to blend that together, maybe they could barter for the Hulk rights and the Namor rights.
That's what, that's
that was the
people
rumor.
said, yeah.
So I think that Hulk right now being his own solo thing, you could do Maestro. I say it like you do. But I also think that he does deal with time elements. So he's not in control of time, but you've got these time things they need to solve with Kang.
Yeah,
Could work.
so for me, out of all the ones that I hear, I mean, when you look at them as separate entities, right? Like Ultron could be interesting, but like they say, the problem is how much related to the what if storyline. And then the other thing is he just didn't come off as devastating as I think they wanted him to in the second Avengers, which I think is, if you go back and watch it, I think he's better than people give him credit for. But I still think it not as devastating and it was never like, thought of as one of the great villains.
Well, part of the problem with that is like whenever you have Ultron in that regard, it's always a situation where not only does he do something ridiculous, but then he just auto regenerates and like he all of a sudden he had buried himself like inside of, I don't know, Iron Man's suit, and then you realize, oh, he's actually been alive this entire time, and now he's worse. Like in the Avengers Assemble cartoon, there was a robot that was holding the Infinity Stones for them, and that's how you ended up with Infinity Ultron, is because he's like, I actually buried my code in here, and thank you for giving me the gems, and now he's all powerful. So like there's ways to do it.
There's ways to do it, right.
Yeah.
And I the only reason, like I said, I don't think he should be the one, but like the reason why him and like Dr. Doom are the ones I go, well, maybe because they're recognizable names to people. But if I'm going to choose, even though I can't remember whatever the freaking names were, like the variant of Kang would be the way to go.
Iron Lad, it would be a very easy way to insert Young Avengers earlier into the timeline than you might have already done it, and then have the reveal at the end of a Young Avengers movie, they all to fight of bad guy, and then at the end you find out that the guy that's been like, you thought the new replacement for Iron Man, especially because there's going to be so many people that are like, oh, I don't like Ironheart, I want an Iron Man, and then cast someone young and charming like Downey Jr. as an Iron Man, and then reveal he's the bad guy, and then have it be like, well, I loved him, and that would be a way to have the variant introduced seamlessly.
The only thing I think that is problematic in a situation like that is if you cast, let's say if you cast a new Kang and it's a white dude, right?
Yeah.
People, it's going to be a conversation I think is right to have. It's like, well, wait a minute. So you're getting rid of this, actor, black actor, really great actor with a big role, and you're replacing him now
The young white guy.
with a young white guy. Now, I'm not telling you that it can't be done. I'm not telling you that it shouldn't be done. I'm just telling you that conversation is going to happen, and they've got to be aware of that because it's also absolutely fair for people to ask that question. It's like, so I think that it's just tricky, man.
They're in a
whole
spot.
thing, they're in a
Because on the other side, like the high evolutionary fold in feels like everybody's like, well, they got a African American villain and just sub him in, and that feels weirdly like bad too. Like to me, I don't know if that's
No. I agree. I think the way you go, I take all that back. Doom would, if not Doom, I think you do go Apocalypse. And the reason why is Apocalypse has been a universal problem at points before. Like
Through time.
Exactly.
Like a new Thanos, and he was done terribly in the last one.
Yeah, they also need to fix him, which would be nice to
him.
solve it the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, look, there's, as Coy said, this is not an easy fix. No matter what they do,
they're going to get words, and someone will be upset.
No matter what they do, someone's going to be, especially the time that we live in today. There's going to be people who are righteously upset. There's going to be people who are just upset to be upset. There are people who are going to think it's a bad move. There are going to be people who think it's a great move. Who knows what the hell they're going to do? Or the other thing is, they might not recast.
Yeah. We still don't know, and that's. I mean, these are fun to read and look at, but we still don't know. And
nothing.
Like, worst case scenario, these are fun villains we might get later. Like Annihilus, I think will come into Fantastic Four. Like there will be these things,
but they don't need to make this call yet.
No,
because you've got the Marvels coming out, Secret Invasion's coming out, right?
You have to. You need to be developing a plan. Secret Invasion right now.
Right.
You need to be developing a plan.
Yes.
You do not have to pull the trigger on anything, but you do need to be ready. So that whatever happens with this legal stuff, then you have something to go.
Right. But you know what's great? Everything's on pause because of the strike, which means we have time to actually find out facts about the Jonathan Majors case.
That's right.
Which I think is a beautiful, I'd like to know what actually happened. They can't rush, so we can actually find out what happened.
Right, because that case ain't going to stop because of the writer's strike.
Right.
That's gonna move in the timely manner that it was
You know
supposed
the court stenographer is part of the
I'm off.
I can't.
I'm done.
I can't.
I'm out.
Figure it out.
I crossed the line.
Figure it out. Anyway, so what do you guys think? How do you think it should go? Let me know. Before we take off, we're excited because Boom Studios, everybody, Boom's back. Whenever we talk about Boom, we're always talking about the great comics and everything that happened. We've always talked about how they're evolving as a studio. Well, there's always exciting news around Boom, and especially recently. They have 2 of their comics that are now going to make their jump to TV. Because coming up in August is Mech Cadets on Netflix. It's an animated series based on the Boom comic Mech Cadet U by Greg Pak and Takeshi Miyazawa. The series takes place 50 years in the future following an alien invasion that nearly ended our species. The defenders of our planet are the Sky Corps, and once a year, mysterious giant robots from outer space visit Earth and they choose a Sky Corps to bond with. Teenager Stanford Yu is just a janitor at the Sky Corps Academy, but when he inadvertently bonds with a robo-mech, he finds himself thrust into the action in the face of a new alien invasion. Earlier this month, the voice cast for the series was revealed, with Brandon Suhu, the voice of Beast Boy in the recent DC animated movie, starring as Stanford. Daniel Day Kim, he will play General Aiden Park, the leader of Sky Corps Academy. Ming-Na Wen, love Ming-Na Wen, will play Dolly Yu. And Deborah Wilson, who recently reprised her Star Wars role in the new video game Jedi Survivor, will play Chief Max, a former robo-pilot and mentor to the young trainees. What a cast. The series is going to premiere on Netflix on August 10th, and if you want to catch up on the comic before then, a new Mech Cadets Book 1 collection containing the original 12 issues is available to pre-order now. Speaking of Daniel Day Kim, he's got a second project in the works with Boom Studios with an adaptation of the graphic novel Butterfly, which was announced this week. Kim will be both executive producer and star in the new series, which has been given a full series order at Prime Video. The original graphic novel was created by Arash Amel, written by Amel and Marguerite Bennett, and illustrated by Antonio Fuso and Stefano Simone. The series will follow a former U.S. intelligence operative living in South Korea whose life is blown to pieces when the consequences of an impossible decision from his past come back to haunt him, and he finds himself pursued by Rebecca, a deadly sociopathic young agent assigned to kill him. Variety reports that the series will be going into production once all guild negotiations have been resolved, and we cannot wait to see it. All right. So much awesomeness.
Yeah.
So much awesomeness. But it goes, I think, Coy, the first thing, though, is it goes back to what we were talking about with what has made Boom so special in general.
They're streamlining it.
They know they have a plan.
Mm-hmm. They know the market. They know how to make original content that is different from the other original content they're making. And they're called Boom Studios for a reason. They are literally a one-to-one path from this is the comic, this is the adaptation, this is the studio we have a relationship with. So it doesn't have to be like, who do we get? How do we hire? And then you can get creatives like Ming-Na Wen and Daniel Day Kim. Yeah. You attach people that are confident in the property because they've got something to read, they've got something they want to, like, he's executive producing and starring in. That's confidence.
Right.
And I really think what Boom is doing is cutting out the middleman or middlemen, like generations of it, and they're really trusting the consumer to pick what's going to go forward. The artists and the writers in these books are incredible, but they're greenlighting these one or two in because they know what the market is.
Yeah.
I think it's genius. I love what Boom's doing.
I completely agree, and I think the part that really gets me more than anything, because I know we've been discussing this a lot with both the MCU and the DCU, this idea of just over announcing. Boom does a very good job of, like, they announce stuff when they're ready to essentially, like, release.
Yeah.
And so by giving us that time and having something that they're going to give us within the next month, you know what I mean, or the next couple of months, where it's like this is done.
Well, they know how to announce too. I mean,
Yeah.
they have the way that even the trades are working, announcing these things and getting the word out and building excitement around it, and the deals that they're already setting up with Netflix and with Amazon, like, they're getting in the game, and they're already in the game.
And like the first comic book on Hall H means they got on an unprecedented level of exposure on a comic book, but then
Right.
we were able to announce the anime, a novelization, and a movie, but they didn't go like August 12th, 2020. Like they went, hey, these things are coming. There's a lot of variables, but we trust in our teams. They should announce the teams, not the...
Take notes, Lucasfilm.
I mean, I'm just saying it wouldn't hurt.
For
Wouldn't
real
hurt.
though,
Wouldn't
for
hurt.
real though, that you just, like, that's the problem. This is happening, and this is the reason why. And it's like, no, announce when you are ready.
When you're ready.
Announce when you have things in place, and announce when you have it locked in. Boom Studios has it locked in.
Daniel Day Kim, executive producing, starring in, and it will resume once things are settled. Not it will come out, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Like, that's how you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's the move.
Well, so like I said, this is why we're excited to be working with Boom Studios in general, because not only do we tell you about the comics that are coming out, you're going to get more and more stuff like this. It's the reason why when I talked to them and I had breakfast with the guy from Boom, and I said, okay, this makes sense for us because I remember from Coy working with them at Comic-Con and hearing things like this makes sense for Capes and Cowls, and then every time they give us a sample of what's coming out, we're like, okay, that's different, that's interesting. And then fans, you guys start watching it, you start reading and going, oh my God, thank you for telling us about Boom Studios. I just sent a comment to our guy over at Boom, and I said the fans have been really responding to this segment. And when we don't talk about Boom,
People
you
ask.
guys are like, where is the Boom segment? Because people are starting to get excited. So get excited about these two segments, or these two shows rather, because they are making moves, and Boom is going to be around for quite a while.
People often ask how and like what to do like this, and the way to get ahead of these adaptations is the source material. They're telling you what it is. So if you want to know like the ins and outs of these properties, read them before they're made, and these are literally out right now. Like, that's how this works. So
Yeah.
I highly recommend, especially at a place like Boom, where it's not, there's no barrier of entry. You pick up a Spider-Man comic and it says 762, you're like, that's a lot. Whereas like you get a Mecha #1, you read the graphic novel, you know what it's going to be adapted, and then when the show comes out, not only are you personally invested, but you get to be the one that has that conversation. You get to like carry it. It's so cool.
It's pretty cool. So thank you guys so much. Thank you to Boom. Thank you to all of you. Thank you to Coy and Winston for joining us on the show today. Please leave those comments, man. It helps the algorithm out tremendously. More people have been finding the show because you comment more. It gets recommended, and that's super helpful. And if you want to help out as well and you want to support us, come see us live, man. June 23rd. We're going to be there. Get tickets, thekristianharloff.com. Hit that button. 100,000. Let's get to it. For Winston, where can the good kids find you?
Yeah, you can find me on the socials at the Swaggy Blurred. I've started doing something called Breakfast AM News. Come check it out. I give you a quick 90-second, 2 minutes of the news you need to know and throw some jokes in there.
You can find me on the socials at Coy Jandro. You can find me on the internet here and at Real Rejects, and on my own YouTube page, which I'm trying to do more walk out of the theater reviews with, and I'll have a lot of Spiderverse coverage because that movie has a lot to say. So I'll be doing that for the next month or so, and then it's June, which is Flash season after Spiderverse, and then we go into Asteroid City. This June is insane, so strap in, and we're gonna have some fun times here. I'm excited.
Yeah, we got a lot coming out on this channel for sure, and we'll be doing out of the theater reactions. Capes and Cowls will have a lot to do with both the Flash and Spiderverse and much more. And we've been doing stuff on Wednesdays and Tuesdays and everything. So just keep being part of the channel. Keep your comments. Thank you for the positivity. Thank you to all the brand new people, and thank you to the people who've just been so loyal to us since we started. So for myself and Winston and Coy, we'll see you on the flip side. Peace.